very honored here in Serbia to have Frivolous on interview and to talk to him. Tell us how is the vibe in here for you? How do you like the country so far?
I don't know. I haven't really got an impression yet. I mean, it's pretty hard to tell when you're on a stage. Like, you know, you can't really talk to people. Yeah. I don't know. It's been very, you know, a lot of places I go. Unfortunately, I don't get the chance to really see the places or get much of an impression. You know, I mean, going from a hotel to an airport is really not a cultural experience. I can tell you right now. So I have the whole night ahead of me if I can make it. So I'm very interested to find out. But it looks like a place that's seen some troubles, and you know, it's really nice to see something organized like this so well that really brings together nice music of many different genres. Yeah, it's very cool. It's very unifying, and I think that's probably something that you guys know quite well, is how to stick together and help each other out. So it's very nice.
Your first time here in Serbia, right?
It is my first time. That's right.
Okay. How do you like the crowd here so far from your set?
Well, I played pretty early. You know, 8 o'clock was like one of the earlier sets for the feature lineup, and yeah, it was good. You know, it was nice. I did a live set for about an hour and finished off with some DJing stuff. I think people like the live set better than my DJ sets, but that's probably because I do it more often. Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was really fun. Yeah, it's nice to have the wind blowing through here and everything. I think it's a really special atmosphere. So it's a cool place to play music that you love. I think it's quite a nice environment for that.
Can you tell us a little more about your set, your live set? Because it's pretty unique. You're a pretty unique artist. You make your own instruments, as far as I know.
I do, yeah. I haven't been featuring too many homemade instruments aside from the red telephone, which has been a staple since, I don't know, since I was like 16. You know, I had that red phone that long, you know? So that's the only one that I'm carrying around with me right now. You know, as things relax a bit, I moved back to Canada in 2013, and you know, just started to take things a little more, you know, at a relaxed pace. I'm not that I'm not working as hard, but now I have more time at home, and I think yeah, it's gonna be time very soon to maybe develop some of these new ideas that I have in my head for instruments. But traveling with instruments, homemade instruments, is very difficult because they're usually very delicate. The ones I make are delicate. And if it has a lot of pieces to it, it can easily break down. And the last thing a promoter wants to hear is, can I please have a soldering gun and a magnifying glass? So it makes it a challenge. You have to be careful about, you know, taking stuff that you know you can rely on. And that red telephone, I can rely on it, you know.
Tell us about live sets nowadays. Is that the next step for DJs when they're going into their career? I mean, from DJs to live performances, is that the next step for DJs now?
Well, I don't know. I mean, the art of DJing now is so open in terms of utilizing samples and utilizing, you know, even playing live instruments on top of it and stuff. Like, you can synchronize, for those that are using software, you can synchronize Traktor and Ableton, and you can actually run your own clips or something like that at the same time. So you could literally be playing live and DJing at the same time. And I think people are starting to, you know, develop interesting ways. I mean, I always think about the way the show is from the audience's perspective. So every track that I do live, I've always got 2 or 3 things that I actually have to physically play or sing or whatever, because that is what engages people. And I think that people respond very well to seeing a human actually doing something. So I think there's a lot of chance, even as a DJ, you can still do this. You can still play percussion on top of it or do some things. And honestly, I think that when people do that, it's something special, and the audience knows it.
Tell us, you're pretty successful DJ and producer. What does it take today to become successful? Because you were totally opposite from the mainstream scene. As I read in your earlier interviews, you were doing totally opposite from the sound that was...
Always, yeah, I was always doing the total opposite. Now I would say, you know, I've been You know, I buy a lot of vinyl when I go to Europe, and most of it's just for like research and development, you know? So a lot of the records that we have in the house, a big collection of records, are records that, you know, our friends don't really understand or want to hear when they come to our house, and we're fascinated with them. Some of them are very obscure records, and I think that, you know, it's cool right now that everything's kind of transforming, and a lot of the ways of like tired, old, boring, minimal stuff is getting a breath of fresh air from all these young kids coming in from dubstep scene and bass music and trap music and all that stuff, and I think that's really exciting. I feel a little bit old, but I don't feel like I'm out of date. You know, I feel like I'm paying attention to what's going on, and I really like the changes that are happening right now. I think there's a lot of really inspiring music that's really breaking a lot of the rules, and it's a really great time to be in electronic music.
Yeah, it's now all mashed up.
It's all mashed up, yeah. Like even the dubstep guys are making house, and the house guys are making that, and everything in between. You know, it's fantastic. It's really great.
What's cooking in your studio? What's the next tune? Whatever. What are you working now on?
Well, I have an EP coming out, a 5-track EP, coming out this summer, probably in a month or something, on a very small label out of Zurich. It's my friends. They run a very nice club there called Fridas Buchse, and the label's called Fridas Music. They've got new distribution on Word and Sound, so it'll be like almost their first release on a new distributor. I think there will be a lot of people watching that, and I'm excited to be the first one working with the new distributor to release on the label. And then I've got a lot of other things in the work too. I've got probably, you know, the start of a new album coming, but it took me a while. I was really experimenting with my the technical side of things, but also with finding a new direction with my own sound. And tonight I did play some of those tracks, and they seem to be working well. It is like more of a crossover between some of the new forms and some of the new influences that I've had in my music. So yeah, it's good. I feel like I finally found a direction now. So I think that I finally feel confident that there's going to be, you know, a lot of new Frivolous tracks coming out, and I hope people like them because they're going to be very different from the ones before.
You played tonight your old and new tracks. Can you tell us what's your track and why?
Probably a track that nobody knows would probably be one of my favorites. It was like way back when I was younger. I had some really crazy ideas. There was one, the production is terrible on it, but I like the message because it's called 10 Years of Tyranny. 10 Years of Tyranny, and it's like a personal story, a little bit of a personal story about the 10 years of classical piano music training that I had, which was very actually destructive to working on a rhythmic bass form of music, you know? So actually I like this one because it's very funny. It has my old vocal style, like this really dark, you know, stuff, and it's very experimental, using lots of weird sounds, and it has these funny lyrics about the 10 years of piano. So I think that's probably my favorite one, but yeah.
For the end, can you give some advice to young DJs, producers that are stepping into this game? What would you tell them what to do?
Yeah, just don't be afraid to be different. Like really, you know, if you start off, you know, it's always good to look at other people and to take influences from other places, but I think it's really important to set yourself apart as something different. And maybe people won't get you at first, but if you're the first person that does something different, even if nobody buys your record, in 5 years, maybe that kind of style will start to become popular, and then you will be remembered as the guy that did it first. So it's very important to really do something different, completely different, you know? And don't be afraid to be unpopular, because you're gonna have to be unpopular for a while, and I think it's the best thing to do something obscure, you know? Because as I said, once that comes around, you know, you'll be set up for success.
Thank you, Frivolous, for your time. Have a good time here in Serbia, and we hope to hear you soon again.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you guys very much.